Why the ancient Egyptians believed light could be weighed. Introduction. At first glance, the title of this talk seems contradictory. Modern physics tells us that light is massless. Photons have energy and momentum, but no rest mass. 88647260640856 plus L14L63. How then could anyone weigh light? For the ancient Egyptians, lightness and weight were moral qualities, not physical properties. Their famous weighing of the heart ceremony involved placing the deceased's heart on a scale opposite a feather representing Ma at the principle of truth and cosmic order 831888973365373 plel 31-L55. A heart that was lighter than the feather indicated a virtuous life and allowed the soul to enter the field of reeds, a paradisal afterlife. 831888973365373 plus L52-L60. This section explains why the Egyptians thought intangible qualities could be weighed and then contrasts their beliefs with modern physics, which shows that light does exert a measurable force via radiation pressure. 7149959635148484 plr5 The Egyptian concept of the heart and soul in Egyptian religion, the heart, IB, was considered the seat of intelligence, memory, and morality. A scholarly article in London Journal of Primary Care notes that the Egyptians believed the heart was the source of human wisdom and the center of emotions and memory. 796970970505935 plus L113-L120. During mummification, the heart was left in the body so it could testify to the deceased's character. 796970970505935 plus L113-L133. The Book of the Dead includes spells imploring the heart not to weigh down the balance or testify against the deceased. 796970970505935 plus L121 to L128. In other words, the heart possessed weight not because it had physical mass, but because it bore the moral weight of one's actions. The afterlife trial was performed in the Hall of Truth, Hall of Two Truths. According to the World History Encyclopedia, to reach the eternal paradise of the field of reeds, one had to pass through the judgment of Osiris, which involved the weighing of one's heart against the feather of truth, 30635174700154 plus L70-L93. The article asks, is it possible to have a heart that is lighter than a feather? To the ancient Egyptians, it was not only possible but highly desirable. 306351747000154 8L70-L93. Maintaining a light heart required living in harmony with Mat, cultivating gratitude, avoiding covetousness, and aligning one's life with cosmic order. 306351747000154 plus L98-L130. The same source lists 9 parts of the Egyptian soul, including the Ab, heart, Ka, vital essence, and Ba, personality, emphasizing that the heart represented the moral essence of the person. 306351747000154 to L140-L154. The Egypt Museum description of the weighing ceremony notes that the heart was placed on one pan of the scale and the feather of Ma'at on the other. 83188897336537 plus L31 to L52. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the individual was granted eternal life. 83188897336537 plus L52 to L59. If heavier, the soul was devoured by Amit and ceased to exist. 83188897336537 L55 to L61. The ceremony symbolized that the soul's lightness, purity, could be weighed. Thoth, the scribe god, recorded the outcome 1286886500175549 L81 to L84. Light in modern physics and the weight of radiation. From a modern perspective, light is composed of photons that have no rest mass. 8864726064085564 plus L14-L63. Nevertheless, because photons carry energy and momentum, they exert radiation pressure. When a beam of light reflects off a surface, it transfers momentum, producing a minute force. A 2013 report on a National Institute of Standards and Technology (NIST) experiment describes measuring laser power by placing a reflective mirror on a scale. The researchers found that when a watt of laser light reflects from a surface at 45 degrees, the force exerted is roughly equal to the weight of half a microgram on Earth. 71493956359484 plus L250-L264, about the weight of a fine grain of sand. The experiment proved that the momentum of light can be detected as a force. In their demonstration, a 100 kilowatt laser exerted a force of 0.7 millinewton, equivalent to the weight of approximately 700 milligrams. 71493956359484 L288-L305. Physicist John Baez explains that in special relativity, the energy and momentum of a photon are related by E equals pc, and because photons have zero rest mass, the equation simplifies to E equals pc 886472606408564 L14-L63. Consequently, a box filled with light will weigh slightly more than an empty box. The extra weight corresponds to the energy of the trapped photons. Experimental tests set strict limits on the photon's rest mass, less than 3 times 10 to the negative 7th electron volts, 886472606408564 plus L67-L92, confirming that while light has no mass, its energy contributes to gravitational effects and radiation pressure. Synthesis, moral lightness, and physical light. The Egyptian belief that light could be weighed refers to the moral lightness of the heart. A virtuous person's heart would be light as a feather, and thus pass the test 306351747001548 plus L70-L93. In their worldview, intangible qualities such as truth, gratitude, and balance had weight that the gods could measure. Modern science, by contrast, shows that photons, the carriers of light, exert a real, albeit tiny, force when they strike or reflect off an object. 71493956359484 plus L250-L264. Radiation pressure is the basis for technologies like solar sails and laser power meters. Thus, both ancient myth and modern physics permit the metaphor of weighing light, but for different reasons. The Egyptians weighed the heart's alignment with cosmic light, while physicists measure momentum transfer from electromagnetic waves. Conclusion: the phrase weighing light invites reflection on the intersection of myth and science. In the Egyptian Hall of Truth, the heart's lightness determined one's eternal fate. 8318-8897336537 plus L 31-L59. In the laboratory, NIST scientists use precision scales to measure the minuscule force exerted by laser beams. 71493956359484 plus L 250-L264. Both scenarios involve scales, balance, and judgment. Understanding why the Egyptians believed light could be weighed illuminates how ancient peoples encoded moral philosophy into ritual, and it reminds modern listeners that even massless photons can exert a measurable force.